Chair Lady Westcott Williams calls for concrete action and structural strengthening of IPKO. Following the Aruba consultation, Rob Jetton's cabinet will be running into headwinds from day one. Caribbean students better prepared for their move to the Netherlands DUO. We bringing you Dominica Signal Band 2026, Fantasy Tribe, Costume Band Parade highlights. From the island, Sint Maarten, this is SXM Daily News for February 23rd, 2026. The Chair Lady of Parliament of Sint Maarten, Sarah A. Westcott Williams, has called for renewed commitment, accountability, and structural strengthening of the Interparliamentary Kingdom Consultation, IPKO, following the conclusion of the recent gathering hosted in Aruba. Speaking at the closing press briefing, the Chair Lady expressed sincere gratitude to the host country, the organizers, and parliamentary colleagues from Curaçao, Aruba, and the Netherlands for the constructive dialogue held both formally and informally during the consultation.
We are at the beginning of yet another IPKO. Over the past 2 years, due to various circumstances, we met only once annually, hosted by the Netherlands. This year, we returned to our regular rhythm of 2 meetings, and I really wish to thank our Aruban colleagues and the people of Aruba for their warm hospitality in hosting this Caribbean edition. It feels good to be back in the country where I grew up. The very fact that we continue to meet face to face speaks to our resilience and to our commitment to maintaining dialogue within the kingdom. During this IPKO, we will discuss geopolitical and regional security developments, financial relations within the kingdom, cybersecurity, population aging, and climate adaptation. These are not abstract themes. They directly affect the daily lives of the people we all represent. IPKO has, throughout the years, proven to be an important platform for parliamentarians to engage one another on matters that concern all 4 countries. And it is precisely because of my long-standing commitment to this platform that I wish to share a slightly more personal reflection today. More than ever before, I believe we must ask ourselves a fundamental question. What do we, collectively as 4 parliaments, want to achieve through IPKO? And what are our citizens tangibly gaining from our efforts? I am among the few members remaining across the 4 countries who have experienced this consultation under different names for several decades, from the contact plum to the POC and now IPKO. I have served before 10-10-10 and after 10-10-10. I have served as minister and as parliamentarian in coalitions and in opposition. But IPKO survived. And that experience gives me not only the perspective, but also the responsibility to raise these questions. Because if we don't raise them now, newer members in IPKO will understandably assume that this is simply how things are done. IPKO will then become a tradition, a routine, rather than a continually evaluated instrument of parliamentary responsibility. We have debated the dispute regulation and the balance within our constitutional arrangements. Governments have changed and commitments have been reaffirmed, but it is no longer sufficient for the dispute regulation to merely survive governments. We need a regulation. For decades, we have spoken about the democratic deficit within the kingdom. We commemorated 50 years of the Charter with a call for renewal. We now mark 70 years, and yet some of these very issues remain substantially unresolved. That is why the agreement reached in June 2024 to establish an expert committee on the democratic deficit was important. That committee now has the task of mapping, analyzing, and assessing existing and new proposals, and of examining the scope and impact of provisions in the Kingdom Charter. It is important to note who these members are. For Aruba, Mildred Strengel. For Curaçao, Albrecht Bakhuis. For St. Martin, Rachilda Ardern. And for the Netherlands, Professor Leonard Besseling. They have a job to do between January and October of this year. But members of Parliament, if we are going to make that report, when received, a football again, then we might as well decide now and today that we don't want another report. Because analysis alone is not enough. We must also be prepared to draw conclusions and, where necessary, to act on those. My dear colleagues, IPCO must not become merely a biannual gathering remembered mainly for its collegiality and fellowship. Valuable as those are, we must ask ourselves about impact. The geopolitical landscape is shifting. There is renewed international attention on the kingdom as a state within the global arena, a state responsible to the international community for all the citizens of the kingdom: Groningen, Bandabouw, North, Middle Region, De Bottom, Oranjestad, and Kralendijk. At the same time, questions about equality of rights and equal treatment for all citizens within the kingdom are increasingly prominent. This is not theoretical. It goes to the heart of our responsibility as the highest democratic institutions of our respective countries. Therefore, I encourage political parties, political factions, individual members of Parliament across the kingdom to reflect seriously on our collective parliamentary role. Are we fully exercising it? Are we using IPCO as a strategic instrument of democratic oversight and direction within the kingdom? And if reflection leads us to conclude that strengthening or rethinking aspects of our work is necessary, then we must have the courage to act. This is not a call to weaken IPCO. On the contrary, it is a call to keep it meaningful, relevant, and effective. I remain convinced, as I have always been, that there must be a platform for the highest political instruments of the 4 countries of the kingdom, our parliaments. But let us ensure that this instrument, this platform, does not merely exist. Let us ensure that it truly works. As someone who has served this kingdom before and after 10-10-10, I say to you, structures change only when parliaments decide that they must change. So for our democracy, for the kingdom, and above all, for the people who sent us here, I thank you for listening, and I wish all of us a constructive and meaningful IPCO. Thank you.
News from Aruba. As the chairperson of the Committee of Kingdom Affairs and Interdepartmental Relations of the Parliament of St. Martin, it is my honor to present to you an update on the recent developments on St. Martin. On behalf of the St. Martin delegation at this info, our delegation consists of the Chairperson of Parliament, Sarah Williams, and MP Egbert Duran of the National Alliance, MP Viren Kotai of the Democratic Party, MP Francisco Lacroix of the United People's Party, MP Lyndon Lewis of the National Opportunity and Wealth Party, and Peterson of the Party for Progress, and opening by speech by Shamira Roseberg at the Interparliamentary Kingdom Consultations, IPKO, continued on Friday, February 20th and Saturday, February 23rd, 2026 in Oranjestad, Aruba.
As the chairperson of the Committee of Kingdom Affairs and Interparliamentary Relations of the Parliament of St. Martin, it is my honor to present to you an update on the recent developments on St. Martin on behalf of the St. Martin delegation. At this IPCO, our delegation consists of Chairperson MP Sarah Westcott Williams, MP Egbert Duran of the National Alliance, MP Viren Kotay of the Democratic Party, MP Francisco La Cruz of the United People's Party, MP Lyndon Lewis of the National Opportunity and Wealth Party, MP Rayon Peterson of the Party for Progress, along with our Secretary General, and myself, MP Shamira Rosenberg of the Unified Resilience St. Martin Movement. I will go on to the state of affairs of Parliament. The Parliament of St. Martin consists of 50 members, of which 4 are female. Since our last consultation in September 2025 in the Netherlands, the Parliament of St. Martin continued to focus on holding the government accountable in topics such as healthcare, the mental health situation on our island, justice-related matters, crime and prison, personal matters of the ambulance and firefighters, electricity and water supply on our island, and alternative energy such as LNG, as well as the finances of our country. Members continue to maintain and make use of their rights as members of Parliament to ask questions in writing or request the presence of ministers during meetings. We did see an increase in making use of our question hour, where questions submitted latest on Wednesday will be handled the following Monday. While leadership in Parliament has drafted a protocol that is currently being discussed between the Secretariats of Parliament and the Council of Ministers to ensure that both institutions can function properly within our system. Additionally, Parliament on January 9th approved the National Ordinance on the basic bank account for consumers with 3 amendments submitted. Amendment by MP Sarah Westcott Williams was focused on clarifying the terminology, and 2 amendments by MP Artwell Earon were focused on digital maintenance and yearly reports by banks on the basic bank accounts. Also, a significant motion was submitted by MP La Cruz, which was adopted unanimously, which sought to have the government formally advocate with the Central Bank of Curaçao and St. Martin that the maximum monthly deposit limit for basic bank accounts in St. Martin will be raised to at least 5,400 guilders per month. This adopted motion reflects the reality. Although we operate within one monetary union, the social and economic circumstances of our countries are not identical. A functional relationship requires recognition of differences and policies that respond to the specific and practical needs of each country. Also, the 4 female members reactivated the Women Caucus, a platform to debate issues related to women, but also on broader policy issues. Recently, we traveled to a conference related to gender-based violence. Currently, the ongoing developments. Looking at the current ongoing developments on St. Martin, the Ministry of General Affairs is currently discussing the potential extension of the mutual relations for the country package and the trust fund. As Parliament, we are to keep a clear eye as these agreements will have effect on our country. Additionally, the Ministry of General Affairs is also looking at capacity issues within our ministry. On the educational, culture, youth, and sports front, the government is currently focusing on integration of education, culture, and sports to support holistic development, and also aligning education outcomes with our labor market needs. The government is also focused on enhancing professional development for educators and youth-focused professions, and also increasing parental involvement. The government indicated several key priorities, such as resilient education, cultural and sports infrastructure through reconstruction funding and capital investment, and empowering vulnerable youth and professionalizing the workforce through initiatives such as fostering resilient learning project and the Child Resilience and Protection Project. Additionally, the ministry is also keen on developing national policy on artificial intelligence and STEAM education to support innovation and long-term sustainability. A major recent development is the ministry acquisition of approximately 5.3 million grant in funding for the Action Agenda Slavery Pass project. This multi-year initiative advances a national building vision centered on economic self-determination through culture. This project will be focusing on remembrance, education, and the healing as a wider kingdom-wide process. And it will be focused on a long-term impact. There are 9 projects that will be focused on that development. And this represents not closure, as we all might know and remember, geen punt, maar een komma. That these projects and further attention for slavery-related matters is much needed was once more shown in the recent research of November 2025 by the Dutch Ministry of Health, Welfare and Sport and conducted by the University of Amsterdam. The report reconfirmed that the history of slavery continues to affect both mental and physical health today, particularly among descendants of enslaved people.
News from the Netherlands. King Willem-Alexander's response after swearing in Rob Jetten's team of ministers was short, but to the point. This country faces an uncertain situation in these challenging times. I wish you much wisdom. There will be no Wittebroodsweken or honeymoon period for Jetten's cabinet, which will need to restore public trust after D. Schoof's chaotic 18-month term, clear the bottlenecks in construction and the asylum system, and steer through $16.5 billion of cuts to healthcare and social security. The picture is further complicated by the fact that the coalition of D66, VVD, and CDA is 10 seats short of a majority of seats in the lower house. In the Senate, it has just 22 of the 75 members, forcing it to court opposition votes from parties on both left and right. Around 30% of voters say they have some or a lot of confidence in the new government, according to a survey by Ipsos INO, but among low-income groups, the figure is just 23%. The previous right-wing coalition of PVV, VVD, NSC and BBB started with similar confidence levels, but stronger support from lower earners. Jetten has already had to replace one member of his team before his cabinet was sworn in. Nathalie van Berkel, D66 candidate for junior finance minister, stepped down after it emerged she had exaggerated her qualifications in LinkedIn. The opposition has signaled it is prepared to play for high stakes and forge unholy alliances to defeat some of the most contentious measures in the coalition agreement. On Friday, the Economic Planning Agency CPB produced its assessment of the impact of the cabinet's plans, which found that the average household would be 0.4% worse off over the 4-year term. Opposition parties immediately seized on the analysis as evidence that working Dutch people would bear the brunt of the cuts program. Willemstad, Curaçao's economic reform agenda under the Landspakket, continues to struggle with delays, partial implementation, and limited measurable impact, according to the Financial Management Report, FMR, for the fourth quarter of 2025. While the government formally reports progress on multiple fronts, the report makes clear that several core economic reforms have yet to move beyond the planning or early execution phase. The Landspakket, agreed with the Netherlands as part of financial support arrangements, was designed to strengthen Curaçao's economic resilience through reforms in public finance, tax administration, labor markets, and the business climate. However, the latest reporting shows that many of these measures remain structurally vulnerable due to capacity constraints, fragmented governance, and slow decision-making. One of the recurring problems highlighted in the report is the lack of implementation power. Economic reforms depend heavily on ministries that are already under strain, while specialized expertise is often sourced externally. This creates delays and makes continuity uncertain once external support diminishes. As a result, reforms that are critical for improving competitiveness and investment conditions progress unevenly or stall altogether.
SXV insured? Do you have a valid medical insurance status? SXV is cardless. Request your My SXV account today and enter the virtual office of SXV. Go to sxv.sx and sign up now.
SXV, yeah. Your social and health insurances.
The Education Executive Agency, Dienstuitvoering Onderwijs, DUO, is to visit the Caribbean region from 9 to 27 March to open temporary service desks and organize information sessions about student finance. During the visit, the focus will also be on the new tool the government has developed to help students prepare for their move to the Netherlands. More than 1,500 young people from the Caribbean region move to the Netherlands every year in order to study. DUO joined forces with other government organizations in 2025 to develop a special online tool which would help make the transition as smooth as possible for the students in question. If they visit rijksoverheid.nl, Caribische Studenten, they can obtain a personalized overview of information about their rights, what things they need to arrange, and where they can get help. An English language version is also available at government.nl Caribbean students. The tool has been well received. It is clear that Caribbean students and their parents very much appreciate the tool and that students are consequently much better prepared when they leave for the Netherlands, explains Monique Hugewerf, DUO coordinator for the Caribbean region. All of this will help them get their studies off to a good start. Information sessions. DUO will be hosting information sessions on Sint Maarten, Aruba, Curaçao, and Bonaire throughout the month of March. During these sessions, prospective students and their parents will receive information about student finance on obtaining a citizen service number, Burgerservice-nummer, BSN, and other practical matters that need to be arranged when studying in the Netherlands. Sint Maarten DCOM. On Friday, February 20th, 2026, Prime Minister Honourable Dr. Luc Mercelina officially inaugurated a new emergency generator at the Department of Communication, DCOM, marking a significant step towards strengthening Sint Maarten's emergency communications resilience ahead of the 2026 Atlantic hurricane season. The new generator is designed to ensure the continued operation of the government's communication arm during national blackouts and other disasters. This investment reinforces the government's commitment to maintaining uninterrupted public information services when they are needed most. Preparedness is not optional for a small island developing state such as ours. It is essential. This generator represents proactive leadership and responsible governance. By ensuring it is up and running ahead of hurricane season, we are strengthening our national readiness and protecting the flow of verified information to our people when it matters most. Also present for the ceremony were Fire Chief and National Disaster Coordinator Clive Richardson, Head of Facilities Management Akima Hendrikus, DCOMM staff, and guests Stephen Romney from Electech and electrician Gary Manners. A key component of this enhanced capacity is government's radio station SXM Gov 107.9 FM, which broadcasts 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. The station will now continue operating seamlessly during power outages.
Now for the weather forecast, tonight through Tuesday midday. Variably cloudy with isolated showers. Surface winds, today through Tuesday midday, southeasterly with a gentle to moderate breeze at 8 to 15 mmWh. State of the sea. Slight to moderate waves, swells, 3 to 5 feet outlook through Wednesday midday. Fair to partly cloudy and slightly hazy. Isolated showers likely. And now your 3-day forecast.
Savvy, your social and health insurance is Savvy, your social and health insurance.
Are you SXM insured? Do you have a valid medical insurance status? SXM is cardless. Request your My SXM account today and enter the virtual office of SXM. Go to sxv.sx and sign up now.
Savvy, yeah, your social and health insurances.
Santa Cruz de la Sierra. Curaçao has secured a major international pageant title after Kimberly de Boer was crowned Reina Hispanoamericana 2026 during the Grand Finals held on Sunday, February 22nd, in Santa Cruz de la Sierra, Bolivia. De Boer emerged victorious from a field of 28 contestants, outperforming delegates from across Latin America and the Hispanic world. With her win, Curaçao claimed the crown as the Philippines' representative, Beatriz Abalajon McClelland, was unable to advance to the top 8 and fell short of defending her country's previous reign. The Reina Hispanoamericana pageant is known for highlighting Hispanic heritage, cultural identity, and social responsibility. As the newly crowned queen, de Boer will serve as an ambassador for the pageant's mission of promoting Hispanic culture and unity on a global stage. The victory is being celebrated in Curaçao as a proud moment for the island, marking a significant achievement in international cultural representation. De Boer's win places Curaçao firmly in the spotlight within the global pageant community and adds to the island's growing presence in international competitions. We are bringing you Dominica Signal Band 2026 Fantasy Tribe Costume Band Parade highlights. This is our SXM Daily Newscast. Thank you for joining us.